Hi, welcome to my garden. I thought I'd come outside this afternoon to show you a little bit of what we've already done at Scouts quite a bit, and those of you that winter camp, we did cover this quite a lot. I'm going to go with firelighting. During these times we're all shut in, I think it's important that we just revisit some of the stuff that we have done, and we can, when we can get back outside, we can then practice some of the techniques that we've learned. So I'm going to talk about first the fire lighters. At Scouts we have done the cotton wool pad fire lighters. So you can see here we have a cotton wool pad, and all I've done is I've got a candle, I've dripped hot wax over the cotton wool pad, let that dry, and it goes a bit hard and crispy, and it makes for a great fire lighter. I've also made some, or tried to make some feather sticks. I'm not overly good at doing these, I'm not brilliant. These aren't the best pieces of wood to use either. These are very dry kindling that we use for the wood burner inside. But just for demonstration purposes, they do seem to work. So all we've done here is that we've got the knife, and we've cut down to get the feathers of wood. And all this does is it allows the tiny flames that when the fire first starts to get something to get hold of to eventually get that fire going. So I'll talk in a second about firewood preparation, or what you do to get yourself ready for a fire, and then we'll go from there. So over here we have the wood pile. So when you're building a fire, for any type of fire, campfire or cooking fire or anything like that, it's always really important to have all the wood that you need nearby and ready, because the one thing you don't want to be doing is once you've got your fire lit, is then chasing around getting wood, finding wood, and then finding you haven't got any decent wood to put on the fire. Okay, so what I've got here is we have a pile of dried leaves and very thin sticks. Okay, this would be great to put down as the kindling, the very dry stuff. To once you get the fire, the match lit, or the spark from the fire steel, that will go quite quickly. That will get going. And the next pile we have here is piles of slightly bigger sticks. And again, these are very dry. It's important that everything you have here is dry, so that the wood will catch very, very quickly. And going up from the smaller, we have then the slightly larger. You see there's a pattern going here, so we go from the very small, the fine, small, slightly larger, to the larger, okay? So the slightly larger sticks and onto the logs. What you wouldn't do is put your logs on the fire and try and light that. I have seen it, people try to do that, and it really doesn't work. So the next step then, I think we'll try and get the fire going. Okay, so I'm going to use the fire pit simply because I don't want to damage a garden. I could dig a square out or make a fire pit that way. But for the purposes of this video, just a quick and easy one, I'm going to use my little fire bucket. It's only a small one, but it does the job. We can get a reasonable fire going in here and cook a reasonable meal. So I'm going to use the cotton wool pads that I've previously used. So all we do with these is we just open them up. Okay, just to expose the fibres of the cotton wool. Okay. What happens here is the fibres themselves catch, but it's the wax that allows it to burn a little bit longer. So any of you that have set fire to cotton wool before will know that cotton wool on its own burns really, really quickly. Adding the wax allows that process to take a little bit longer, and it stops it blowing out quite so quickly as well. So it gives the chance for the fire itself to get going. I'm also going to pop on my two little fire things. I forgot what they're called now, but there, we'll pop them on there.
Feather sticks.
Feather sticks, well done. Thank you, Jacob, who's behind the camera. And on top of that, I'm just going to place a few dried leaves, just place it on top. Scrunched up, get it really kind of, okay, because the finer and the drier the feather sticks, the material that you put on there is to start with, the better it'll burn. Okay, so I've popped my dry material. When I was a scout, I believe we used to call this punk. I don't know whether it's still known as punk, but I'll call it punk because that's what I used to call it when I was a scout. So the really dry stuff was known as pine needles, leaves, all dried grass. It has to be very, very, very dry to work. Just going to place a few of the smaller sticks on just to kind of give it something to catch to. So what we don't want to do is all the leaves, everything to burn off and then leave us with nothing. So I'll put a few of the smaller sticks on. I'm going to cheat this time. Well, it's not cheating. Technically, if you need to get a fire going, it doesn't matter how you get it going. Lighter, matches, fire steel, whatever. There is no right or wrong. Just get it going. If you're cold and you need a fire for warmth, get it going. If you need a fire to cook food, just get it going. Don't sit there for hours with your bow drill because that's the way Bear Grylls does it or Ed Stafford does it. Just, whip a lighter out of your pocket if you've got one, or a box of matches and light it. It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to use my lighter because I actually left my fire still indoors. Okay, so it started to light. You can see some of the smaller things, like the smaller bits are getting starting to burn. And the wind's just picked up typically at this precise moment in time. But it is still going. It's smoking quite a bit and there is still some flames there. Now at this point we have to be really careful. It's very, very, very easy just to smother it and for the fire to go out. Now those of you that have been with me for a while and I taught this or I've gone through fire lighting before will know that I often refer to a fire basically as a person, so as a baby. So when the fire is small, just like a baby, you need to feed it little and often. So you need to feed the small sticks. You need to keep that fire going, you need to build it up. What you don't do is you don't chuck on a big log onto a fire like this. You think, okay, I've got it going, you don't chuck your big log on. Because well, if you were to feed a baby a roast dinner, it ain't going to eat it, is it? So again, it's trying to keep it so small and often. As it gets bigger, so like a person, like a child, the meals, they need to have larger meals but less often. So it's just like the fire. So the fire needs feeding. So we'll just pop the sticks on. Okay, it's starting to catch now. Okay, as you can see, the fire's now going. We've got some sticks on. What I would ordinarily do here would be we would build it up to start putting on some of these bigger logs to create a really good bed of embers. But as it's just for demonstration purposes today, and we're not going to be doing anything with the fire, I won't let it build up too much. But the idea would be to build up the fire to get the bigger logs on, to let it burn and create some heat to keep you warm, as we do at winter camp, or to cook a meal on. And if you're going to cook a meal, you need to really get a really big bed of embers, and you get that by putting more wood on, putting more wood on, putting more wood on, and let that burn down, and it's the red glowing embers that you cook on. So that's it for now. I hope that over the course of the coming weeks, maybe you can get out and try and do a fire yourselves. Okay, cheerio.